Hey everybody, welcome to Cut, Transform, Glue, and to another episode of the Recon Unit build. I made a ton of progress in this project and it grew so much in terms of number of pieces. This is the 4th episode of this series, and so without any further ado, let's get to the video. This is a highly articulated model, and the price you pay with this is that you have to hide a lot of tiny nuts and bolts. And the bolts that I have on the arm saw are so visible and bugging me so much that I want to start with them first. Now the piece you're watching me change right there is the scrolling wheel from a very old mouse. And right here I'm trying to embed an M4 bolt on it. Now the thing with hiding the bolts is that I don't want to just hide them, I want to create a structure that looks cool and works with the model. I had this scrolling wheel in my collection for so much time, many years actually, and I want to make this one to look like a cool futuristic electric motor that gives movement to the arm with the saw. And this 3D printed grill right here will hide the nut from the other side. Let me just choose a tiny acrylic disc from my collection to close it on the open hole right there. I'll just close it with some Sea glue and I'll throw a coat of primer, and yeah, this is the result. But as you can see, I have many other bolts to hide in this model. An extra couple just on the arm and an extra 4 on each leg. Now the good thing with the legs right here is that I've embedded the nut on the other side, and so for these two guys right here I just have to close them. I'll glue a cap with some Sea glue and I'm good to go. I'll just add some tiny details on top of it to make it look interesting, and yeah, this is done. But on the other side, of course, I need to be able to reach the bolt, and so these two right here will be kept separated from the body. I also have a couple extra going on this piece right here that connects the legs to the body, and so I made 4 of these and primed all of them. Now let's turn our attention to the body of the robot. I need to add some surface detail. This sphere right here is looking too plain for my taste. In my collection of tiny metal parts, I found this one right here. I had it for quite some time and I'm going to use it, gluing them to the surface of the sphere like this. This right here is also something very interesting that I had in my collection for some time. These are some tiny little hex nut that I have that are actually M1.4 millimeters, very tiny stuff, and I'm going to just glue them with some Sea glue to the top of the previous piece. Now I feel like this model is lacking some extra detail, especially in the top, so I'm going to use this piece right here. This is a dead earbud, and yeah, I'm going to use it to create some flashlights. So let me first remove the insides and save it for a future project, because for this one I'll just use this part right here. I have this shiny concave metal piece right here that I'll glue to the top of the dead earbud. But to go one step further and make this headlight look very interesting, I have these plastic pieces right here. This reflective material is very interesting. It has this kind of a hologram effect going on. These shiny sheets can be found inside of LCD screens, and of course, as always, I got them cut on a laser CNC. I'll put a shiny bit inside of the metal piece and I'll close it all up with this special material right here. So I 3D printed this piece right here. It connects perfectly to the concave metal gribbly. On the back goes the earbud, and I'll close it all up with the reflective disc. Then I just needed to create a piece that would connect the earbud to the body of the robot. So here's the finished piece with a coat of primer. As you can see, the hologram effect is very interesting and shiny, and I really like that. Now, of course, off camera I made a second one, and now I just have to glue them to the top of the robot. It's funny that like this, it kind of looks like a couple of eyes, and it actually made the robot kind of cute, if you ask me. Not exactly what I was going for, but I like the result. All subscribers know that all my robots have a backpack, and this one is not different, so I prepared this 3D printed piece right here, and I'm going to glue it on the back of the robot with an embedded M4 nut. The blue curved piece looked interesting, so I'm going to use it to start the battery pack. As you can tell by the drill bit on my hot glue gun, I ran out of hot glue, and so I had to use an obscene amount of CA glue to keep the acrylic pieces together. Don't worry, I'm actually immune to CA glue. Did some sanding to create a flat spot, and now I'll look for a gribbly to create the front of the battery. This one I had in my collection for quite some time, and I really like it, and it fits perfectly the concave blue shape. Now the dark gray gribbly had a big hole in the middle, and so I'm using a couple of pieces right here to close that gap. I'll glue an acrylic ring from the outside, and from the inside I'll glue that couple of pieces with a lot of baking soda. I have tons of metal rings from old hard drives, and this one fits perfectly right here, so I'm going to use it. Now just glue both pieces together, and it is going to be attached to the body of the robot with an M4 bolt, as always. But I actually didn't like the structure I had before, so I decided to remove it, and I'll use this threading tab right here, this M4 threading tab, to prepare an acrylic piece and attach it flush to the body. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it took me a couple of tries to get it right, but now the battery pack sits flush to the body of the robot, and it looks much better. Now I just have to give this battery pack a full detail pass before adding the first coat of primer. So I just closed the big gap it had, and I'm adding some tiny discs to it. And I'll use this interesting laser cut acrylic piece with 3 holes on the top of the battery pack to guide some wires on the future. Made some holes for the wires to come through in the future, and gave it a coat of primer. And I also had to hide the M4 bolt features. Now let's get back to the body and add some surface details to it. Let me take a quick moment right here without pausing the video to thank my Patreon and my Ko-fi supporters. If you want to help this channel to keep going, check the links in the description box. Also, shout out right here to my new Patreon, Gerald, welcome to the family. And now let's get back to the video. The number of pieces in this project is growing fast. So far, we have almost 40 body parts and 15 bolts, and that number might get higher. So the painting process in this project is going to be a hard one. Now I still need to add details to the eyes of the robot. I really like this gribbly and I want to give it extra attention, and also I need to work on the antenna. I'll also give the legs a full detail pass before painting it. But this, my friends, is for the next video, and as always, thanks for watching.